Manny Pacquiao was born into extreme poverty on December 17, 1978, as the fourth of 6 children. His early life was defined by a constant struggle for survival. He often went to bed hungry, sometimes having only warm water to fill his stomach when food was scarce. His parents separated when he was in the 6th grade after his father had an affair, leaving his mother to raise the family alone. To help support them, a young Manny worked as a street vendor selling bread, donuts, and peanuts, and even worked as a fisherman's assistant. He eventually dropped out of high school because the family could no longer afford the costs, dedicating his time instead to manual labor and odd jobs. Pacquiao's introduction to boxing came at age 12 through his uncle, Sardo Mejia, who trained him in a makeshift home gym after they watched James "Buster" Douglas upset Mike Tyson in 1990. Driven by a desperate need to earn money for his mother, he began competing in weekly park matches for prizes as small as $2. At age 14, he made the life-altering decision to leave home and stow away on a ship to Manila. In the capital city, he lived on the streets and slept in cardboard boxes or inside a boxing gym while working as a construction worker and metal yard laborer. He famously had to choose between eating or sending his meager earnings home to his family. His determination was so great that when he began his professional career at age 16, he was so underweight that he reportedly put rocks or steel ball bearings in his pockets to meet the minimum weight requirement for the scales. Manny Pacquiao's career is defined by a disturbing secret that almost saw him banned from boxing before he even became a star. He was literally too small to survive in the professional ring. At age 16, a severely malnourished Manny weighed only 98 pounds, 7 pounds below the minimum weight for the lightest professional division. Desperate to earn just $2 to send home to his starving family, he committed a dangerous act of deception by stuffing heavy metal ball bearings and rocks into his pockets to trick the official scales. This wasn't just a rough start, it was a life-or-death gamble where a single punch from a properly fed opponent could have been fatal to his frail, 98-pound frame. He fought that first match essentially as a hollow shell of a human, risking his life for the price of a few meals. In February 1996, the world thought they were watching the birth of an invincible star. A 17-year-old Manny Pacquiao entered the ring with a perfect 11-0 record, looking like a lightning-fast wrecking ball. But behind the scenes, a massive mistake was about to cost him everything. Because Manny failed to make the flyweight limit, the rules of the time forced him to wear 8-ounce gloves, while his opponent, Rustico Torrecampo, wore lighter, faster 6-ounce gloves. This wasn't just a disadvantage, it was a setup for disaster. In the 3rd round, Torrecampo leaned into a brutal overhand left that caught Manny flush on the chin. The future Pac-Man collapsed to the canvas, his eyes rolling back as he was knocked out cold for the first time in his life. The crowd was silent as the 98-pound kid who was supposed to be the next big thing lay motionless. Before the millions of dollars and the Hollywood fame, there was December 4, 1998, the night a 19-year-old kid from the slums of General Santos changed the Philippines forever. Facing the formidable WBC flyweight champion Chache Sasikal in his own backyard of Thailand, Manny was the ultimate underdog, a nobody fighting for a dream. For 7 rounds, Sasikal outboxed the young challenger, leaving Manny's face bruised and his hope fading. But in the 8th round, something shifted. With the heart of a lion and the speed of a lightning bolt, Pacquiao unleashed a shattering left cross that sent the champion crashing to the canvas. The referee didn't even need to count, it was over. At just 19 years old, Manny Pacquiao was the new WBC World Flyweight Champion. Manny Pacquiao's career is fueled by a dark, supernatural obsession that most fans completely overlook: his belief in the curse of the fourth. For years, Pacquiao was haunted by the fact that every single time he reached a massive career milestone or a 4th fight in a legendary saga, disaster struck. The most bone-chilling example happened in 2012 during his 4th fight against Juan Manuel Marquez. After dominating the rivalry for a decade, Pacquiao was suddenly knocked unconscious in a way that looked like a scene from a horror movie, lying motionless for several terrifying minutes while his wife screamed in the crowd. This curse was so deep-seated that it even bled into his politics. During his 2022 presidential run, he finished in a distant 4th place, ending his political ambitions in a total heartbreak. In 2015, the world stood still for the fight of the century against Floyd Mayweather, but behind the scenes, Manny was hiding a career-threatening injury that almost canceled the $600 million event. During training camp, Pacquiao suffered a massive rotator cuff tear in his right shoulder, an injury that usually requires immediate surgery and months of recovery. His team desperately requested a legal anti-inflammatory injection just before the fight, but the Nevada Athletic Commission denied it at the last minute. This meant Manny stepped into the ring for the biggest fight in history, effectively one-armed. Every time he threw a right hook, he was in agonizing pain, yet he refused to quit or reveal the injury to the public because he didn't want to let down the millions of fans who had waited 5 years for the match. He fought 12 rounds against the greatest defensive boxer ever while his shoulder was literally falling apart, proving that his toughness wasn't just about his chin, but his incredible threshold for pain. In 2010, while he was still the pound-for-pound king of boxing, Manny Pacquiao did the impossible. He ran for a seat in the Philippine House of Representatives and won by a landslide. But he didn't stop there. Driven by the same fire that saw him survive the slums, the Pac-Man ascended to the Philippine Senate in 2016, proving that his voice was just as powerful as his left hook. For years, he lived a double life, training for world titles by day and passing laws for the poor by night. This journey reached a fever pitch in 2022 when he ran for president of the Philippines, showing showing the world that a kid who once sold donuts on the street could dream of leading an entire nation. Manny Pacquiao's career is defined by a disturbing psychological battle with his own mortality that almost ended his legend in 2018. Just days before his massive world title fight against Lucas Mathis, Pacquiao was secretly rushed to a Manila hospital after experiencing sharp, crushing chest pains. Doctors made a terrifying discovery: an inborn heart condition that meant his heart could literally explode or stop under the extreme physical stress of a 12-round fight. The medical team begged him to withdraw, warning that he was a ticking time bomb, but Manny made a chilling choice. He swore his inner circle to total secrecy, refused the surgery, and stepped into the ring anyway, believing that if it was his time to die, he wanted to die as a champion. Forget everything you know about boxing limits, because in November 2010, Manny Pacquiao did the unthinkable. Standing in the ring against the massive Antonio Margarito, Manny wasn't just fighting for a win, he was fighting for his 8th world title in 8 different weight divisions. No one in the history of the sport had ever come close to this level of dominance. From starting as a 98-pound starving teenager to outboxing a giant 150-pound warrior, the Pac-Man unleashed a blistering 12-round masterclass that left Margarito's face shattered. When the final bell rang, the world stood in awe as Manny was crowned the WBC Super Welterweight Champion. If you think you've seen greatness, you haven't seen the Pac-Man's prime. It started in 2008 when Manny jumped 2 weight classes to face the Golden Boy, Oscar de la Hoya. The world thought Manny was too small, but he delivered a one-sided beating so brutal that he forced a living legend to quit on his stool. But he wasn't done. In 2009, he stepped into the ring with the hitman Ricky Hatton and unleashed a perfect left hook in the 2nd round that left Hatton unconscious before he even hit the canvas, creating the most iconic knockout in history. That same year, he moved to welterweight and dismantled the warrior Miguel Cotto, proving no one could handle his speed. Manny Pacquiao is currently preparing for a historic September 19, 2026 rematch against Floyd Mayweather at the Sphere in Las Vegas. But the most shocking and dramatic fact about the Pac-Man isn't just his age, it's that in July 2025, after a 4-year retirement, the 46-year-old legend nearly became the oldest welterweight champion in history when he fought reigning WBC champion Mario Barrios to a controversial majority draw. While most legends are long retired, Pacquiao stepped into the ring against a man 16 years younger and, according to many fans and experts, actually deserved to win.